Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. Pretty Baby Brooke Shields documentary on Hulu. I just watched it today, both parts 1 and 2. Should you see it? I think so. I think it's relevant for anyone. Can anyone watch this? It's hard to say. I mean, there is some strong content, mature content, but all done in a provocative but responsible way, I think. But there are some issues that come up, sexual assault, and the debate, many debates about the direction that Brooke Shields' career went, and even her personal life. You might remember a controversy with Tom Cruise almost 20 years ago. But I think this is a movie worth watching, a documentary. I would say I give it the thumbs up. I actually met Brooke Shields once, very briefly, but she was very nice. So now let's get deep into it. Part 1 and Part 2. I didn't realize this was going to be a two-parter until the end of Part 1. Both parts were digestible in about an hour and 10 minutes. If you don't know who Brooke Shields is, I mean, you should, but at one time, take your Miley Cyrus's, your Lady Gaga's, any of your teen female idols or young 20s female idols. Brooke kind of had them all. She came before them all, and she was an icon, and in some ways, unfortunately, perhaps, a sexual icon at a young age, doing some very provocative films that's discussed. Most importantly, probably Pretty Baby itself, which is a European filmmaker, made this film about New Orleans, the French Quarter, and all the prostitution and so forth going on there, 100 or so years ago. And unfortunately, that story probably is, maybe it wasn't an actual historical case, but there were many stories like that, I'm sure, where these young women were dragged into prostitution without even knowing what they were getting into. And Brooke played a young lady. She was a young lady, 11 years old, playing this young woman in this situation. And that was a real movie. I believe it came out in, I want to say 78, something like that, 1978. And then from there, she did The Blue Lagoon, which people, that was another thing, and another sexy movie. And she was only a few years older, maybe 14 or 15. And then finally, the Calvin Klein ads, provocative. I guess all this stuff is in the documentary. If you really don't know what I'm talking about, watch the documentary, if you're interested. But you talk about the Miley Cyruses, you talk about, who else? I mean, just the young women, the Kim Kardashian, era of young womanhood, put your tits on Instagram, shake your ass on TikTok, all these young women doing these horrible things. But, Brooke Shields was in these situations at a different time, no social media. I mean, imagine if she did have social media back then, but it really wasn't her making these choices in a lot of ways. It was her mom, single mother, divorced from the father, always hustling, looking to get her daughter to work. And, the entertainment world responded, and the world responded. She was a friend of Michael Jackson, although Michael Jackson, I guess the term beard, she would be an early use of the beard, because she says that she did not have a sexual relationship with Michael Jackson, but he kind of claimed in a few interviews they were dating, which, kind of ended their friendship. So she's had a very interesting life. She's been under the microscope for most of her life. When she went to college for 4 years, she went away. I'm basically just rehashing the whole goddamn movie at this point, but let me just get to the point. I mean, did you happen to see the Val Kilmer documentary a couple of summers ago, like I did? I did a review on that. Kind of the same thing. Like, it's a fun piece to watch because you're watching all this, historical footage of things from the 80s and the 90s and into the 2000s. So you're seeing different types of cameras, Not everything was an HD camera all the time, folks. So, I mean, you're seeing things in different, it's like a time capsule, you know what I mean? And you're seeing the Eddie Murphy footage. I mean, his stand-up comedy routine about Brooke Shields and Michael Jackson was very funny, from Raw, his concert movie. So, I mean, it's a trip down memory lane. The Tom Cruise, Matt Lauer, interestingly enough, I mean, Matt Lauer was kind of the the baby face in that situation, meaning the good guy. Tom Cruise was kind of the heavy, the jerk. And, history has proven Matt Lauer to be on the wrong side of that as far as his own personal ethics. Look at my hair. But as far as this Brooke Shields goes, I mean, I met the lady. She was very nice to me. Just met her for a few seconds in Los Angeles. I was there for an audition. George H.W. Bush, the second George Bush president, was doing a speech in the Century City Plaza Hotel. Brooke Shields was there. Rick Schroeder was there. I happened to speak to both of them. They were both nice. So I don't know. I mean, I think this doc is worth watching. But it's not a game-changing doc, let me say that. I mean, look, if you like Brooke Shields going in, you'll probably like her more coming out of this thing. I did listen to her audiobook years ago, Down Came the Rain, about her postpartum depression issues. So I've had sympathy and empathy and good feelings to Brooke for a long time. Just based on her career and getting to meet her briefly. I've always thought very highly of her. At one point in my life, someone, believe it or not, compared my eyebrows to hers. Was an interesting, and they said it as an insult, but I kind of took it as a compliment, an odd situation. But I think she's a very likable person. She's also very comedic and funny, which I think that's kind of the tragedy of some of these kid actors. They get kind of put into a box, and especially with a young, attractive female actress like her, she got put into a casting box, so to speak. And it was only Suddenly Susan that really helped her out of that. And she also had a fun time in college, doing theater acting in college. She's had a very interesting life, and she's been strong enough to survive, the issues with the alcoholic mother, the relationship with Andre Agassi that wasn't so great. It seems like she's found happiness now as an author, as still an actress, as a mom, as a loving wife. So, I mean, I give her a lot of credit. Now, is this a mind-blowing, oh my God, what a fucking documentary, Meet the Friedmans, or Bowling for Columbine, or a Mike Messier documentary, Disregard the Vampire, Mike Messier documentary? Is it at that level of G-Funk? I probably would say not, but it's something to watch on a rainy afternoon. Something to sit there, HULU and chill, if you would. Definitely worth your time. Definitely worth the time in watching this documentary, and I think it's been my pleasure to give this nice review. If Brooke herself happens to see this, I appreciated meeting you years ago. You were very nice. I'll have to tell that story sometime because it is a funny story. So anyway, that's it, folks. Have a nice day. Have a good week. It's only Monday, so we continue on with our lives. I will be seeing a horror film tonight. I'm not sure what it's called, Mula or something. It's a weird title, but I have to get to the theater to see that. I'll probably do a review, and that's it. So, folks, have a nice Monday. This is the new One Mike Messier YouTube channel. The old reviews of old films are over on One Pro Wrestling Fan. And then, of course, you have my films on One Man and a Camera Films. And you can buy my books. You can go to MikeMessier.com and purchase all my books and be good people.